Strange sightings of dark figures, animals being found drained of blood, and eerie, ear-splitting sounds coming from the desert are all a part of ancient Puerto Rican legend. In this video, we will discuss the strange urban legends and cryptid sightings of Puerto Rico, including the lesser-known Mocha Vampire. Then we'll go into present-day sightings into the US and beyond. In 1975, everything changed for the residents of the town of Mocha in Puerto Rico. A local newspaper came out with a report that had shocked townspeople, stating that there had been strange animal deaths popping up throughout the month of February. In the neighborhood of Barrio Rocha, 3 goats, 15 cows, and a pig, and 2 geese were all found deceased within a span of a month. They were all completely drained of their blood and had strange marks on their bodies similar to stab wounds. However, there was no blood outside of the bodies to be found, and the autopsy showed that the animals really had no blood at all. So, where did the blood go? This is the question that locals continue to ask throughout the next few months. Local authorities tried to play off the animal deaths as simply dog attacks, stating that the common stray dogs on the streets were known to attack animals. Yet, there was something still very strange about the way these animals had died. A dog could not have inflicted a stab wound. The journalist in the area took hold of the story, and rumors began going around about a new type of creature called the Mocha Vampire, or Vampiro de Mocha. In March of the same year, another animal turned up dead in the same bone-chilling manner. It was a cow with stab wounds in the skull. The strange thing about this death was that the cow had also been seemingly scratched by large claws. Following the report of the cow's death, more than 8 other animals were also reported dead by farmers. The rumors began to come out as townspeople had discussed what could possibly be happening to their livestock. A woman named Maria claimed she believed the Mocha Vampire to be bird-like in appearance. She had seen a large dark bird only a few days prior, sitting on her roof and screaming. Maria describing the bird as being 4 to 5 feet in height. However, she only saw it for a moment as it left flying into the skies and left more questions than answers. Well, later in March, the second witness came forward about his run-in with this creature. Luis Torres and his family had sighted strange lights, such as those from a police car in the sky. He believed it to be a UFO sighting and believed this had something to do with the Mocha Vampire. He realized the object had been flying on top of the area where the animals had been found dead, which caused him to believe that the animals had been killed by aliens. Later, it came out that the same rancher found 2 large snakes about 6 feet in length trying to attack one of his cows on his farm. He shot both of them, but left more discussion to the town. Were the strange killings simply due to large snakes? Although snakes can take out large animals, they don't generally drink blood, and there's no way they can leave scratches on the skin of animals. This fact was later confirmed by Dr. Juan Rivero, who was a herpetologist in the area that had studied reptiles. He stated that the only large snake in the area was the Puerto Rican boa, which is a non-poisonous snake. Although large, it is incapable of killing large animals, like a goat or a cow. He also stated that snakes do not have the ability to drink blood, as their mouths are not adapted to that. Soon after this report, 34 chickens were also killed and drained of blood. In just 2 weeks, the death count from the Mocha Vampire had reached 90 animal victims. Farmers began to worry, and even skeptics would try to maintain their animals at night and within small makeshift sheds to try to shield them from the infamous Mocha Vampire creature. On March 18th and 19th, more slaughtering had occurred. This time, the victim was a goat and 17 other animals. All of the animals were killed with deep wounds, and all had lost a tremendous amount of blood. Surpassing 100 victims now, the Mocha Vampire had been acting fast. Some people believe that more than one creature was at fault due to the large number of deaths. At the total end of the month, a pig was also found with a large hole in the top of its head and all of its blood drained. It looked as if something had been forced through the skull of the animal with extreme force. One of the pig's ears was also missing, which was unusual, especially due to its clean cut, akin to that of a trained medical professional. It wasn't until after the pig's death that another citizen came forward with a sighting of the Mocha Vampire. This sighting was more akin to the one that Maria had just seen a couple of weeks prior. The man's name was Juan Muniz, and he stated that he had been attacked as he walked through his neighborhood at night. That creature that attacked him was a huge bird-like animal with red eyes and sticky black feathers all over its body. It flew down from above and landed on top of him, trying to pin him down. The man fought for his life and was able to get the winged creature off of him in time to run down to the street to hide in some bushes. He then ran to his neighbor's house once he was safe, and later went to the police station and alerted the authorities. However, the authorities still didn't completely believe the man's story. In April, more attacks were reported, and over 50 more animals were slaughtered, and more people began to report strange sightings of a bird-like creature or even attacks similar to the one that Juan had suffered. On April 5th, a farmer and his men were sitting up at night, waiting to try to catch a glimpse of the strange creature themselves. They left poison on the ground to hopefully kill whatever had been killing their rabbits, but nothing happened during their watch. However, when the men woke up, more rabbits turned up dead. The farmers then created a union, and several farms started to have all-night watches. A nearby goat farm decided to do the same. Now, 4 men sat outside overnight, watching and waiting. And suddenly, from all the trees and fields around them, the men heard a deafening screaming sound similar to what the woman who had first viewed the creature had heard on her roof. They covered their ears and tried to block out the sound, and one of the men then saw a large figure running through the trees away from the animals. After inspecting the scene, they had found 4 goats dead with virtually no evidence of what had happened. The man who had led the watch party stated, "Whatever killed my goats was definitely not human. I don't believe in vampires, of course, but I can't really say what kind of creature killed these animals." Several other UFO sightings soon came to light. In the Santa Rosa and Cerro Gordo areas, a giant object with rectangular lights was seen hovering around 1,500 feet above a ranch for roughly 45 minutes. There were several witnesses. The next day, upon inspection, scorch marks were actually found on the grass where the object had supposedly landed. Police continued to try to cover up the facts and the stories being shared. They even went as far as a public service announcement to try to silence the public, stating that most of the stories were just that, stories meant to scare them. However, despite the police's efforts to silence the public, the attacks persisted, and multiple witnesses had seen these wounds on the animals and the terrifying pale skin of their lifeless bodies, drained and void of blood. There was no denying that something strange was happening. These attacks continued into the months of May and June, and hundreds of animals had now died from being attacked by what everyone suspected was the Mocha Vampire. And still, nobody had any idea why or by who. On May 13th, another sighting was reported. A man in the nearby town of Corozal claimed he had seen a large hairy creature with big red eyes. It had growled at him with a sound similar to a small dog. Right after the sightings, 3 roosters, a rabbit, and 5 goats had all turned up dead and were drained of their blood as well. UFO reports in May also skyrocketed. 2 star-like ships were also reported in the town of Fajardo. Another unknown flying object with yellow lights, similar to previous sightings, was also seen. On May 17th, a few people witnessed a large glowing ball of light coming from the sky. They noticed a huge spaceship-like vessel almost the size of a house. Some viewers also claim to have seen a dark object with red lights on it hovering beneath the ship. In June, 25 animals in the town of Isabella were killed. A week later, 14 roosters were also found dead. However, in June of 1975, the attacks suddenly ceased. Many of the townspeople of Mocha believed that the creature had flown on to greener pastures, or perhaps somebody had killed it. Whatever happened, the townsfolk were relieved to no longer have to worry about their livestock. Similar to sightings of the Chupacabra, which means goat sucker in Spanish, the Mocha Vampire ravaged communities and drained many animals of blood. Although sightings of the Chupacabra continued after 1975, the sightings of the Mocha Vampire and the mass killings had come to a complete halt, and there have been no further sightings all the way into today. Most of the reports of the Mocha Vampire have been written in Spanish, and there are not many studies done on this in English. For that reason, it's a good idea to do your own research when looking at this specific legend. Since video footage was not exactly common in 1975, when this occurred, we only have the eyewitness testimonies of what occurred during these few months. So what do you think? Why did the Mocha Vampire only show up for a few months and then mysteriously disappear? What was the creature? Was it an alien of some kind or a bird-like cryptid creature? Or was it simply a pack of vicious snakes or dogs? Or a legend made up to scare farmers into behaving? Although the sightings of the Mocha Vampire and the strange animal killings in the area had stopped after June of 1975, UFO sightings did not. Many UFO enthusiasts and cryptozoologists believe that the killings were related to the UFO sightings and that the creature, whatever it was, had moved on to other areas of the world. In 1975, UFO researcher and journalist John Keel wrote a book called The Eighth Tower. In it, he made observations about several paranormal events that had occurred in the Caribbean in the 1970s. He claimed that these aliens and creatures that were often viewed alongside UFO sightings were resistant to human weapons. For example, in other cases in the US where strange cryptids or creatures had been sighted, such as the infamous Skinwalker, high-power rifles often didn't have any effect on the animal. It often takes longer than normal to kill one, even if you get the chance. He believes that radiation and the unique structure of these creatures' alien composition are the reason for this, as well as the reason why some of these creatures, like the Mocha Vampire, are only here on our planet for a little while and then disappear into nothingness. He states that these animals may also have lethal or harmful amounts of trace radiation on their bodies, which can make people very sick. His theory was confirmed in the 90s when investigators following the trail of a Chupacabra in 1995 found dangerously high radiation levels in the areas where the Chupacabra had supposedly attacked. Although the Mocha Vampire seemed to cease to exist in Puerto Rico around 1975, similar stories and sightings of creatures that had the same appearance and behavior as the vampire were seen in other areas and have continued to be seen until today. Even before the 70s, some reports were made. In the 1960s, for example, a study was released by Interstellar Communications by Philip Morrison and Giuseppe Conconi. They aimed to seek out alien life by using microwaves. In 1961, a conference called The Search of Extraterrestrial Intelligence was held. The goal was to find as many intelligent alien creatures as possible in hopes of striking up communication. One researcher from the conference, Frank Drake, chose to work in Puerto Rico on his search for alien life. The researcher himself had created a radio telescope, which he used to try to sight creatures in the forest of Puerto Rico. In the mid-1960s, a guard sitting post at the telescope witnessed something very odd. The man reported seeing a strange man or figure walking around the area of the telescope's vision. The man or creature was reportedly wearing a long black cloak. The guard believed he was seeing a vampire or some sort of undead creature. He thought nothing of it at first, but later on received word from someone nearby about a disturbing occurrence that had happened that same night. Drake reports this: "I was forced to look into it because a cow was found dead on a nearby farm, with all the blood drained from its body. The vampire rumor had already spread through the observatory staff, and now the cow incident whipped the fears of many into a frenzy." This case shows that animals being drained of blood was not a first for the area, and it is possible that the creature was roaming the deep forest of Puerto Rico long before its debut in the cities and farms of the area in 1975. Of course, in the 1990s, the Chupacabra got its name to fame when it was first sighted in 95. Although not exactly bird-like in appearance as the Mocha Vampire was said to be, it often killed farm animals, draining their blood partially or completely. It was most well known for sucking the blood of goats, which is where its name comes from. Although the sightings of the creature differ, those who have seen it said it has a reptile or alien-like appearance. Many believe that it is associated with UFO sightings in the area as well. It has even been sighted as far as northern Mexico and the southern United States as well to this day. In 1995, 8 sheep were discovered dead in Puerto Rico. They all had 3 puncture wounds in their chest and were completely drained of blood. Although these killings were similar to the Mocha Vampire's killings, eyewitnesses claimed that they were 2 different creatures altogether. In August of 95, over 150 farm animals and pets were said to have perished by the hands of this creature. A woman by the name of Madeline Tolentino said she had seen the creature and that it appeared to be a large reptilian creature with the body of a furry alien. Soon, reports of farm animal deaths similar to the ones in Puerto Rico started popping up in places like Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, the Dominican Republic, and many other countries. Even India had similar attacks where animals had been found drained of blood. Forensic experts and police officers once again claimed these killings were simply due to the attacks of stray and street dogs. However, nobody was convinced. As far as they were concerned, street dogs did not drain animals of blood or leave severe puncture wounds on their bodies. However, not everyone believes that these sightings or reports of the Chupacabra were real. In fact, a study was done on some of the animals that were said to have been killed by the creature, and a veterinarian in Puerto Rico named Dr. David Morales analyzed 300 animals and stated that not one of them had been bled dry, although some blood was missing. In the US, many of the Chupacabra sightings were said to have just been a rabid coyote or dogs with a terrifying mangy appearance. In fact, a biologist in the United States stated that he believed all of the Chupacabra reports to just be coyotes infected with a parasite known as Sarcoptes scabi. He said this disease would leave the dogs with little fur, thick skin, and a foul odor. He said coyotes often attack goats because they are easier prey, especially when sick. However, the doctor is unable to confirm all of these sightings, as the Chupacabra is said to make its killings far away from humans or in the middle of the night when farmers aren't expecting it. The sightings of the Chupacabra are different depending on the area, which leads some cryptozoologists to believe that they are not the same creature at all. Perhaps they are from a breed of similar creatures or aliens, akin to the Mocha Vampire. One such sighting is of a reptilian creature that is said to hop around similarly to a kangaroo. Other reports state the creature looks like a wild dog or a wolf with a pronounced spine, dark eye sockets, large fangs, and big claws. Both creatures are said to drain the blood of their prey, and both are also said to create 3 holes in the shape of a triangle when they kill. However, 1 or 2 holes have also been sighted. Similarly to the Mocha Vampire, both the reptilian and dog-like versions of the Chupacabra kill at night, away from human eyes, or quickly before they can be spotted. Both have been sighted, and both tend to have large amounts of radiation left on their prey. Interestingly enough, similar types of attacks have been carried out on livestock in the US in recent years. Although there have been no sightings of what did it just yet, in the state of Utah from the 1990s to the current year, similar events have taken place at a ranch called Skinwalker Ranch. You might have heard of it. At the ranch, UFO sightings have been reported often, as well as sightings of a grizzly wolf or dog creatures that try to attack cattle. In the past, cattle have mysteriously died, and some have been completely drained of their blood, such as the animals in the cases of the Mocha Vampire and Chupacabra. Although some of these cattle were brutally ravaged and mutilated, some were left intact with no entry wounds and missing all of their blood. In photos released by the original ranch owners, you can see cows that have been completely destroyed by whatever attacked them. Their bones and organs are dry, and it appears that there is no blood in or around them. In fact, the owners of the ranch state that there is not even a drop of blood on the grass around the animal. In the case of the Skinwalker Ranch, many of these killings have happened in 2018 and onwards, although the majority have happened beforehand. And this leads cryptozoologists and extraterrestrial experts to believe that whatever is behind these killings is an animal that is still at large and has not gone away. Other sightings on the ranch include strange pillars of light that come down from the sky and illuminate the fields and ridges of Skinwalker Basin, and reflections of light that show up on the mountain at night. One rancher even found a wolf trying to kill his cattle, which were within their nighttime enclosure, where they could not escape. He claims it took over 7 shots for the creature to desist, and that it did not seem to be harmed by the gun very easily. In the area, there is a high level of microwave radiation and UV rays. When measured, these amounts are extremely dangerous for humans, especially higher up in the sky. At night and in pure daylight, lights have been seen in the sky which seem to stay in one spot and then mysteriously disappear. Similar to the UFO sightings in the Puerto Rican town in 1975, in 2019 in the Silvies Valley Ranch in eastern Oregon, another similar story took place. 5 of the ranch's bulls suddenly showed up dead, drained of blood, with body parts removed in a surgical fashion, similar to the pig that was killed by the Mocha Vampire in Puerto Rico that was missing an ear. The ranch's vice president, Colby Marshall, states this: "We got out and took a little walk to where one of the bulls was found, and the carcass was still there." He then goes on to explain the animals are purebred bulls worth around $6,000 each. He says this: "I mean, this is the frontier. If some person or persons has the ability to take down a 2,000-pound range bull, you know it's not inconceivable that they wouldn't have had a lot of problems dealing with a 180-pound cowboy." Many people believe this is the work of aliens, and several UFO experts have come forward stating that they believe aliens have taken the cows in the night, drained them of their blood, and released them back onto the property without a single sound. The animals were not shot, and there were no wounds, apart from the surgical precision cuts that were made on their missing body parts. In 2017, 200 miles south of the area, another cow was found cut up in the same way and also missing its blood, showing that it was not a one-time thing in Oregon. Although the ranchers tried to look for some clues around the body, there was not even a footprint or any tracks. There had not been any rain or snow, and the lack of clues as to what had happened left the ranch owners concerned. This case has still not been solved, and the Harney County Sheriff's Office in Oregon offers a $25,000 reward for anyone that has information that could help or potentially solve the case of the mysterious dead cows. Utah and Oregon are not the only states that have witnessed these strange killings. In fact, in 1975, the same exact year as the Mocha Vampire, nearly 200 cases of cattle mutilation similar to these were reported in Colorado alone, showing that these types of killings were not unique to Puerto Rico. In the Colorado killings, part of the cows were removed, such as an udder or eyes or sex organs or tongues. They were removed with a sharp instrument and had clean cuts. However, investigators and authorities have never been able to find out who or what was responsible. Although some believe that these killings are made by satanic cults, others believe that they are done by creatures such as the Chupacabra, Mocha Vampire, or aliens themselves. So, what do you believe? Are these killings just a coincidence or the work of angry dogs, or is the Mocha Vampire actually alive and well, moving across country borders and creating new urban legends as it goes? Or is this the work of several creatures or aliens that are similar in nature? Whatever you believe, there are thousands and thousands of stories of animal mutilations where farm animals have been virtually drained of all their blood, surgically cut or mutilated in some way. These stories are not just history, they continue to happen into 2022. What's also very interesting is that not too far away, South America seems to be plagued with far more terrifying legends of reptilian humanoids and even worse, which you can check up right up here, so don't sleep on this.